Welcome to Or Something Like That,
the podcast where you can talk shit with your besties.
We're your hosts, Sam
and Hollis. Be sure to follow us on social and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode.
And if you love us, give us that 5-star review.
All right, we're back again.
Here we are. Welcome.
What's up with you?
Well, I had a little bit of a scare.
A scare?
Well, I thought I had COVID.
Oh.
I made bacon. My kids wanted pancakes and bacon. Fine. I made this bacon and I took a bite of it and it tasted like nothing.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh my God, do I have COVID? I immediately went and because I also noticed that I wasn't really smelling it a ton while it was cooking. Went and smelled the closest smelly thing. And I was like, no, I can smell. And then I took a bite of something else.
Weird.
I literally bought bacon that tasted like nothing.
Did anybody else taste it?
Yeah. Kurt didn't, which at least I don't think he did. He may have now. We had some left over. The kids ate it. And
they weren't like...
Yeah, but I mean,
they're not
the best critics of that, probably. It was the strangest thing.
That is strange.
And I said something, I did say something to him. He came into the kitchen and I go, I thought I had COVID because this bacon just tastes like nothing. And he was like, well, did they just forget to salt it? I was like, yeah, it's not even salty.
Yeah, that's weird. And it didn't smell like anything either?
Not really. I mean,
that's bizarre.
Really. It was very strange.
Can you take it back and be like, this bacon doesn't have any flavor?
This bacon's not baconing. I don't know what to tell you. But it was very bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sookie is a woman now. She started her period. She's in heat is the real animal term. But yeah, I found
in case you didn't know.
I don't think I'm actually supposed to say she's on her period, but it's funnier that way. Yeah, I was finding drops of blood around. And I was like, what is going on? And then I finally put it together and she was in heat. And it's a real thing. I mean, she's only 8 months old. I thought for sure I would have her spayed before I had to worry about that.
Right.
But I guess with little dogs, it can happen as early as 6 months.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was kind of an ordeal. I had to get her little doggy diapers.
Yeah.
Put them on her.
I came over and you had told me, I think you had texted me and she ran up to me and all of a sudden I looked down and there was just a spray of it everywhere. I was like, Hollis!
Yeah, because she came over and was excited. And it would the more she would move and run, I feel like the more it happened. Yeah. It's kind of gross. But yeah, I was not prepared. That's for sure. But it was fine. I just put little diapers on her for a couple days and after a while, it was just these are kind of pointless. I just put some towels down.
It's not enough to warrant a diaper.
Yeah.
But it's also you also don't want it on your furniture.
Right.
And you have a white couch.
Yeah. I have to constantly, she had to lay on towels and I just had to cleaning up after. And then I had to deep clean my apartment.
Yeah.
But then I was able to get her in to get spayed. So she just got spayed too. So now she's
recovering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor little baby.
It was so funny, though. I told Hollis, she likes me more ever since she flowered.
Well,
she's obsessed with me now. Not that she didn't like me before, but she just would run up and get excited. And if I put my hand down, she just wanted to bite my hand and then she'd run off.
Yeah.
And the first time I came over after she went into heat, she came right up to me and leaned her head into my hand for me to pet her. And I was like, she loves me now. So it's fine. I approve.
She just needed to enter womanhood.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it was funny because for a couple of weeks before that, I had been remarking, I was like, yeah, she's been so affectionate lately. And I've been loving it. And I get it now. Yeah. Things were happening.
Yeah.
Poor little girl. So I won't have to deal with that anymore. It was so funny when I picked her up too. She was all sedated still. Her eyes were half open. She was nodding out in the seat on the way home.
She has a car seat.
She does. She has a little car seat. It's very cute. Because she doesn't really love riding in the car.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Cats don't. So I wonder if it's a smaller dog thing too.
Yeah. Yeah. Her groomer said you should get her a car seat because I think if she can't see up out of the window,
then she feels more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think it has helped. Yeah. So that's my update. Just taking care of my little girl.
Speaking of little girls, I have made a realization, which, I mean, it's not like revolutionary or anything. It's probably to be expected. But, you know, when you have your second child, they see your first child doing things. And then, you know, they're like, oh, I can do that. Because I think my first was probably, honestly, like 3 or 4 before she really started doing this. And now my 1.5-year-old has discovered the stool. And it's like just out of the periphery, I will see my 1.5-year-old taking off somewhere, stool in hand. And I'm just like, no, what are you doing? What are you getting into? The other day I was in the kitchen and they were in their room playing, which is right off of the kitchen. And she kind of snuck into the kitchen and I didn't really hear her. And the next thing I know, she's next to me, like go gadget arming for like whatever. And I'm like, how are you up here? And then I realized she had brought the stool over and she's standing next to me on the stool. So yeah, we've entered that phase much earlier this time around.
The stool phase.
The stool phase, which can be dangerous.
Oh yeah, I bet. Especially if you have, an older person to show you all the...
Oh, showing her the ropes.
All the ropes.
For sure. Yeah. Like,
That's
good
funny.
Lord. She's obsessed with washing her hands. So she
Well,
takes the stool around from sink to sink in the house and tries to wash her hands.
Let me just find the best hand washing situation.
Yeah, she's definitely comparing and figuring it out. But she's one of those kids that... She doesn't have a ton of interest in toys. She just sees you doing things. She wants to do all the real life things. She loves to throw things in the trash. She goes around the house finding little lint balls and like things. And she gets so excited taking it to put it in the trash. And then she just looks over at me and beams.
Aww.
Yeah, she loves it. So,
well, you can have her washing dishes and doing laundry in no time.
Yeah, she loves to unload the dishwasher.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
I hate unloading the dishwasher.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely in that phase of like, it's not really helpful.
Right.
Makes it harder.
Cute. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get there.
One of these days. That's fun.
Yeah.
I'm also preparing for my 37th year of life.
We have a fun plan, though.
I am so excited.
Yes.
Yeah. I turned 37 this year on tax day. Whoop, whoop, tax baby. Or so all of my elementary school teachers told me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a very fun weekend planned. You're the best friend ever, and you're taking me for a spa day.
Yes, we're going to Indianapolis, which is the big city in these parts.
Woo!
We're going to have just a lovely stay. I mean, we are getting pretty famous. So I'm not going to say where we're staying. But a nice hotel with a nice spa. We're just going to have a spa day. We're going to go out to a nice dinner with some friends. And then hit up the old Greenwood Park Mall on the way home for some back to school shopping.
Yeah.
Or school's getting out shopping. School's letting out for the summer.
Summertime shopping for sure. I have no warm weather clothes.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to be naked out here in the streets this summer.
If we don't go to the mall, we will be naked. And yeah, I said back to school because that's, if you're local to this area, that's where you went back to school shopping, was the Greenwood Park Mall for the most part. If you were like really ambitious, maybe you went to Circle Center, but it was mostly Greenwood.
Yeah. Samesies. Yeah, it's going to be so fun. I'm really excited for the dinner. We're going to Bluebeard. Yeah. Everyone knows I've been dying to go there for a little while, so yeah, it's going to be great.
It's going to be fun. We're going to try to do a little like come with us to Hollis's birthday reel. So we'll see how that goes. We're not real sure how to do voiceover, so we'll see how it goes.
We'll figure it out though.
We'll figure it out. Don't expect the primo content straight away. We're still figuring it out.
Yeah. But eventually the primo content will be coming your way.
It's coming, absolutely.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I'm also just like, I'm starting to get to those ages where I'm like, oh, am I sweating my birthdays now? I never really did in the past.
You know.
But it's like, I'm starting to get to the point where it's like, all right, I have to like get some shit done this year.
I cannot just waste another year.
I have to figure my life out this year. I have to save a bunch of money. I have to fall in love. I have to get super healthy.
Yeah.
And I have to just find happiness.
Yeah.
So just a few things.
I have to find my purpose and my happiness now. I'm running out of time. It was 35 for me.
Yeah.
35 was the like, what?
Yeah, I feel like increments of 5, the ones in between are kind of like, whatever. But it's those like 5-year increments that are like, oh, snap.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just weird because like I didn't really feel any sort of way about 30. That was kind of an exciting one.
Yeah.
Because I almost feel like it's
Same.
like, okay, I am commanding respect now.
Yeah.
I'm 30.
Yeah.
I'm not a dumbass anymore. I know some shit. I'm responsible. I have this career. Like, I've got it. You know, I'm 30. And yeah, then 35 just felt like, how did I get here?
Right.
How am I 35?
What have I done for the past 5 years?
Yeah. I mean, I had 3 babies. So,
yeah.
No, but yeah, it was a weird one for some reason. And then I'll be honest, kind of everyone since then, I'm like creeping up to 40. It's just, it feels unfathomable, I think, because I still feel like I'm 25.
Yeah.
And I hear that across the board a lot of times from people. It's like, I don't feel
like I feel like I'll feel 27 forever.
Yeah.
Maybe not physically, but like mentally.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for 40 just because I hear every woman I know who's gotten to 40 is like, oh, the 40s are the best.
That's what everybody says.
But I'm nervous because I'm like, if I don't get some things together, are they going to be the best? Like the 40s are supposed to be the best because you're more secure with yourself and you usually are a little bit more financially secure. So you can enjoy things more. It's like, well, I have got to get on the ball.
I got to get on it.
So I have some money to spend in my 40s. But, you know, I'll figure that all out.
Yeah. It all comes out in the wash.
I'll figure that. Yeah.
I think.
It does.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, I've always just kind of like gone through life, just letting life happen. That's not totally true. I mean, I've made decisions. I moved away, you know, but it's felt like I've been lucky in that things have just kind of happened.
Right.
I haven't been like super ambitious, you know, and like I was never a person that was like 5-year plan or I know what I want to do with the rest of my life and going after it. You know, it's been kind of a self-discovery journey. So now I feel like I don't have time for that anymore. Yeah. You know, like those years have passed. And now it's like I got to start being active and making decisions about what I want.
Really thinking about the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And that the first thing I have to do is decide what I want, which is the hardest part. Like, what do I really want my life to look like?
Right. Yeah. No,
that's a hard thing to, I don't know if other people feel like this. Yes. That's hard for me to decide, to define.
I think probably everybody in the world, I think, can relate to that. I really do. I mean, I think there are a few anomalies of people who are like, I want this career. I want this path. I'm going to go after it. But at the same time, even if they're very focused on that, I don't always necessarily think it's true.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's just something that they have latched onto and decided they're going to do. It may not necessarily actually be what they want because they may not have actually done that reflection. Yeah. And I don't think you can until you've lived some life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it complicated because
and then, you know, life just throws curveballs at you all the time. Yeah. And you have to go with the flow.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't be too rigid, you know.
Right.
And I also think like it's ever changing and evolving because I feel that way too, where each new chapter I enter in my life, I have to reevaluate it too, where it's like, okay, now that it looks like this, what do I want?
Right.
You know, and yeah.
Life's a pickle.
Isn't it?
It's a journey.
You know, this has nothing. It just reminded me, she said life's a pickle. My grandmother, I loved her so much. She used to sing this thing where she would say, life's a bowl of cherries. I'm in the pits.
I have heard you sing that many a time. It's a good one. Is that like a song?
I have no idea. Don't hit me with a copyright infringement because I have no idea. But I just loved it so much.
Life's a bowl of cherries. I'm in the pits.
Anyway.
Should that be our theme song? No.
I'm like, we're both like, no. Anyway, it really had nothing to do with anything. It just reminded me.
Made me smile, so that's good.
Okay. Well, speaking of, I don't know. I thought maybe there was a segue there.
Speaking of pits
and cherries, I don't know. But I think today we have some interesting insight to bring to our audience about women's exercise and diet.
Oh, yeah. So I listened to the Mel Robbins podcast, and it's a pretty good one. I like her. She's smart, and she has smart people on her podcast, and she's a really good speaker. I think that's kind of what she got famous for, is like her TED Talks and stuff. But she had this expert on in women's physiology and exercise, and it was, I thought it was really interesting. She said a lot of things that I had kind of heard before in some way, shape, or form, but then it was just such a good reminder, especially because I've been focusing on my physical health a lot, and I exercise now and go to the gym, and there's just so much to consume, especially because, like, if you're on social media, like there's a ton of exercise content out there, and everybody is, and
diet culture and all of that is being pushed on us constantly. Like, drink lemon balm tea. It's like the natural Ozempic. Do this, do that. Yeah, there's a lot.
There's so many, like, trainers. Everybody's on Instagram with, like, how to work out, the best training methods. There's all kinds of information. It's virtually the same, but a lot of it is very varying, and it's like, what do you listen to? What's the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And the main theme of the podcast was exercise for women versus men, because a lot of exercise culture, like most things in the world, are modeled off of men's bodies.
Yes.
And she kind of started off the podcast with this phrase that I think is great, which is, women are not small men.
Right.
And it's just like, yes, we aren't.
Right.
We can't. Our bodies are fundamentally, biologically different.
Right.
They process things different. They change different based on what we're doing. Even if we're doing the same thing, it's not going to work the same. We're not going to have the same results. And she also made a point, too, which I thought was very interesting, which was like, oh, yeah, that a lot of the machines in gyms are designed for male bodies.
Yes, they are.
So they're not going to, even if you change the settings, they're still not always going to work perfectly, because they're not made for our bodies.
And this is not just in exercise, too. I mean, this is something we see across the board, and it's very prominent in health and medicine as well, because most studies and research is done for men and with men in mind, and that goes across the board to all different categories. And one of the things that she mentioned too that I thought was great was, she called it shrink and pink. And the example she used was a bicycle. So they engineered bicycles and put it together for the male body, and then they just made it smaller and added a little pink, and now it's a women's bike. And that's a very common thing, where the research is done with men in mind, using men's bodies, and then they just make it a little smaller, add some pink, and now it's for a woman. So
it's like Midol. Midol's just ibuprofen in a different package, basically.
Right.
So I mean, it was so interesting. It was just a good reminder that, like, you cannot take what everyone is telling you, and you have to do your own research and really fine-tune what is right for your body specifically.
Right.
And so many great tips. Like, I have been doing a lot of strength training, how important strength training is for women's bodies. But, like, there's certain ways to do it, and if you do it the way a male trainer,
you're not going to get the same results.
I'm not going to, I shouldn't say that. It's not like male trainers don't know the difference, but a lot of times they're giving you experience for their bodies.
Right.
And I feel like I've been consuming a lot of information from people that I'm like, oh, this isn't tailored for me.
Right.
And people, I just think that's skipped over a lot.
Yeah.
That the difference between how men and women's bodies grow muscle, build muscle, what they need.
Yeah, like molecularly, our muscles are different.
Right.
And the way that our bodies feed our muscles is different. And, one of the tips that I took away that I was definitely doing wrong is she talked about, and I can't remember the exact term. There's a term for exercise, I guess, done on an empty stomach. Because she said it, and Mel was like, what? And she was like, well, it just means like going and doing exercise or strength training on an empty stomach. That men can benefit from that and do. And women, I mean, the way she described it is almost not even that women are going to benefit less, but almost that we don't benefit at all because of the way that our body responds to stress, which is essentially what exercise and strength training is. You're exposing your muscles and your body to stress. And she was talking about eating, even if you're doing it first thing in the morning, like having something to eat with a little bit of protein. Doesn't have to be a lot. What did she say? Like a couple tablespoons of Greek yogurt.
Yeah, she puts protein, half a banana or something.
Yeah, she puts protein powder in her coffee, stuff like that. But just the way that we're going to benefit from that so much more. And I mean, if you want to get into the science of it, listen to the podcast because, and I'm not going to be able to remember her name now. We can look it up, but she's very decorated. Yeah. I mean, she's on the staff at Stanford. She's written like 170 peer-reviewed papers on this. She was an athlete. She's trained female athletes. I mean, she has a ton of credentials. She really knows her stuff. And yeah, it was just really, like you said, some of it was definitely stuff that we've heard before. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store, like things like that. But when it came to the actual exercise portion of it and how to fuel your body for that and what to be doing in the gym, really truly was stuff that I had never heard before. And it really resonated because it was like, yeah, we're not the same.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially even just like hormone production and all of that is so different. And another thing she brought up that I thought was interesting was, you know, Mel brought up that saying like, oh, well, abs are made in the kitchen.
Yes, that was another big one too.
And she was talking about then the expert,
Dr. Stacy Sims.
Stacy Sims.
World-renowned exercise physiologist, a nutrition scientist.
Yeah. So she was talking about how, yeah, men can like cut out soda or cut out alcohol or do these different things diet-wise, and the next thing you know, their abs are shredded.
Yeah.
You know, and that women, that's not the case, and that we really benefit from these sort of like deep core exercises. And she was talking about how people may not necessarily think of toning your abs through an exercise like deadlifts, but that's really kind of what we benefit from in terms of core exercise. I mean, there was just a lot of stuff that I hadn't heard before, you know, and I feel like that's rare because it's so saturated and like it just seems like people are regurgitating the same stuff. And the other thing I really enjoyed about it is that she did talk a little bit about diet, but it was very non-diet culture. She wasn't talking about fad diet. She wasn't talking even about restricting calories. The one thing she did mention, which I think we've all heard, that is honestly one of the hardest parts for me, is the idea of like top loading your calories.
Yeah.
You know, she did mention something about not snacking after dinner, kind of keeping your eating between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m.
And that is a form of intermittent fasting.
Yeah, almost. Because she did talk about how like intermittent fasting
doesn't work.
It doesn't really work.
It's not actually healthy for women.
Right.
But that if you restrict your eating from, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Is that right?
If you stop eating after 6 p.m.
That's a form of intermittent fasting that will work for your
because
bodies.
When she was referring to the intermittent fasting, I think she was talking more about women not eating in the mornings and working out on an empty stomach and then maybe not eating until 10, 11 o'clock. And she said, really, as women, we need to be eating first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Whether we're working out or not.
I know. And that was probably the biggest takeaway, actionable for me too. Because I had always heard that also. Don't eat before you go to the gym.
Yeah.
Well,
but I think too, when you're like, I work out at 6 a.m., it's just hard to.
Yeah. And I'm not, when I get up in the morning, I'm not hungry. And especially when I think about eating a whole breakfast.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was like, well, then I don't know what do I need to eat? So that was really helpful for me too, that even just a couple tablespoons, honestly, of protein is enough for your brain to be like, we're not starving.
Right.
We have enough energy to like keep things going. Yeah. So I've started implementing it. And
me too.
I had more energy to get through my workout.
I felt better. Yeah. So far I've only, since I listened to it, I've only been to the gym in the morning one day, my early day, because the other 2 days I did wait a little bit longer to work out, so I would have eaten anyway. But I had a protein bar before I went, and I dare say I felt better like later in the afternoon when I normally get tired and stuff. I wasn't as tired and fatigued as I normally am on the days that I work out that early. And I'm like, there might be something to this. Now it's one time, so we'll kind of, but the other thing I thought that was really interesting about it is she said that once you get into a habit of doing that, you'll sleep better, because she was talking about how sometimes women waking up at night, it's your body's response to a blood sugar issue.
Yeah, that was really fascinating.
Yeah,
too.
It was really interesting. And, you know, again, if you really want to hear all the science and stuff behind this and like really detailed explanation, I highly recommend listening to the episode. We're just kind of giving you the high level
notes,
overview. Yeah. And she talks on it like, send this to all the women in your life, you know, which of course we get is also like, listen to my podcast.
Right. But it was the first time I've listened to a podcast like that where I was like, yeah, because people do need to hear this.
Yes, you sent it to me, and then I sent it to all the girls I work out with, plus my instructor, because I will tell you what, it made me feel, not that I wasn't already confident in my instructor's class and knowledge, but she knows her shit, because what she talked about, what women need to be doing, is exactly what we're doing in this workout class.
That's awesome.
And I told her that. I was like, this could be an advertisement for your class.
Yeah. It made me think, I saw a personal trainer for a short amount of time at the gym I went to, and it was a male. He was a fine trainer, but it made me think, like, I don't think we were doing the right things. Right. And I don't think there's any consideration taken into my gender and my physiology as a woman in our workouts. Like
your biology.
He was very much I mean, not that there's anything terribly wrong with that. He was doing the job that he thought was right to do, but I don't think there is any difference between the training I got and the training a man my age got. Which, you know, when you're thinking about it, like, might as well do what's going to work best for you, you know?
Yeah.
And another thing too is, I've heard, I'm sure your trainer says this, like lifting heavy.
Yes.
And that,
and less reps, but as heavy as you can.
Yeah. And that, like, it's for so many things, building muscle, getting lean and tone, but also bone density.
Yes.
That, like, your bones depend on your muscles. And they will, you know, and she mentioned a couple times, you don't want your bones to be chalk. That was just like, oh, God, that's a horrible women, thought.
Especially menopause, will really zap your bone density, and that's when a lot of women start experiencing osteoporosis and stuff. Yeah. Obviously, I think there's going to be some genetic issues at play there. There's going to be multiple factors, but I think going into that phase of your life as strong as you can is going to be very beneficial to that. Sure. And just, you know, like mobility. Later on in life too, you know. So,
you know what I am training in the colostrum for?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You know what I'm trading
in the colostrum for?
I'm going to do creatine.
Oh, well, that was another thing that I meant to mention that I was surprised about.
Because I had heard a lot of men I know take creatine.
Oh, yeah.
In the gym. So I was always kind of like, well,
it's a man. That's the one thing I always assumed was a man thing.
Same.
Yeah.
So I was, that's kind of what I was like, oh, okay. I think I am going to try this out.
And she did say something about the dosage, but she was talking about how women can benefit greatly from supplementing a small amount of creatine,
and not just in the gym, but just in
general. Yeah, I clocked that too. So yeah, it was a really great listen. I felt like I took a lot away from it, and highly recommend for the women in our lives. Give it a listen.
Yeah, check it out. And it was just helpful for me.
And if anyone local is looking for a workout class, send me a DM, because I've got one for you.
That's awesome. So listen up.
Listen up, bitches. We got you.
I'm still not great on my ending segues. And
the segues haven't been great today.
How do we end the conversation? Always happen, guys. Sorry.
No. Okay, what else do we got? Oh, we have kind of a fun little exercise that we just thought would be funny to do, and it kind of came to me like in the situation where I was like, man, if I was a billionaire, this is what I would do. So I thought it would be fun to just pose the question and say, okay, if you were a billionaire, what's something that you would do, like all of the solving of the world's problems aside? Right. Like, you don't have to be like, solve world hunger or stop all the wars or whatever it is. Or
we've done all of our philanthropic duties.
Yes. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you go ahead.
This came about when I took my children to the Urban Air.
Ooh.
Which is a trampoline park. Which,
is it fun?
Not really. I mean, they love it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's just disgusting.
Oh. Yeah.
If you really think about it. If you if you put it out of your mind, like it's whatever. But it's germy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wouldn't consider myself a germaphobe, but I'm aware.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine all those trampolines get cleaned.
That's the thing.
It's just like
there's
sweaty
no
kids
way,
all
dude.
over them.
There's no way that this stuff is being properly
disinfected.
There's just no way. I mean, it would take the overhead of having people there to clean it, and it's not possible. But that's where this whole thing stemmed from, because my 5-year-old, they have like a ninja warrior obstacle course, and the bottom of it is a ball pit. We all know they're cesspools.
Yeah.
And you can just see the dirt and the grime clinging to the balls. You know what I mean? Like, there's black spots on them, and like you can just see like gum. I mean, it's disgusting. So I got to thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? If I was a billionaire, I would come up with some kind of business, and like, I don't even care if it makes money. You know what I mean? I'll just take one for the team on this. There has got to be some way that we could 3D print like biodegradable balls, fill the ball pit each day with new 3D printed biodegradable balls that are then like
just dissolved
at the end of the night, or chucked out, and they just immediately biodegrade.
That's a clever idea.
They could be made out of, like, I don't know, recyclable materials of some kind.
You know what we should do is take all the trash in the world and somehow find a way to make
that
ball pit balls out of them
into some kind of biodegradable ink.
Yeah,
that we can 3D print.
That can't be that
all
hard.
The ball pit balls.
Can't be that hard.
It can't be that hard.
Elon, where are you at? This is what you should be
doing. Absolutely.
You should have taken that $25 million you spent in Wisconsin.
Because we literally don't need you for anything
else.
We don't need you for anything else.
No. You suck at everything. Anyways, yeah. I think that's a great idea. I think,
that's where I would
once
be
you make your first
energy.
$billion. Yeah. Maybe wait till your second $1 billion.
Once the podcast really takes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then once we hit that second $1 billion mark, we'll start investing in that.
Absolutely. Cool. I think so.
Mine isn't nearly as creative. If I was a billionaire, I would just build a vacation commune that all of my friends and family could come stay at.
Oh, yeah. Like the Hollis resort?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just build sandals, but
what would we call it?
Smallest
grass
land.
Skirts?
Smallwood.
Because sandals is pretty good in terms of
luxury.
No, just in terms of like a resort name, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. Beach bags,
conch shells, puka shell, puka
land, puka
world.
Anyway, we can workshop that.
Yeah, we'll
working
get back
title
to you on that. But that's what I would do with my billions. So I would just
make
a killer private resort for me and my friends.
Buy an island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would like build homes so you could come and like vacation for weeks there, you know?
I mean, why wouldn't we just live there?
Yeah.
Do you think we'd live there?
I just feel like probably wouldn't be able to live there all the time. I mean, I guess if I was a billionaire.
If we were billionaires, we could.
So maybe it would be a retirement.
I mean, I don't know how I would manage all the ball pits from the island, but
yeah, you're gonna. And you know, billionaires own multiple properties, so
yeah,
you know, we'd have to mix it up. I'd have to go to my winter home at some point.
That's true. We'd have that in Colorado.
Yeah, probably
Aspen.
Maybe Switzerland.
Oh yeah, the Alps.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
so
what would you do with $1 billion, listeners?
Yeah, we'd love to
let us know.
Yeah, write in. We'd love to hear something just benign and, you know, selfish or not. I mean, the ball pit is definitely serving others. So whatever you would like that you would do with your billions if you had it, let us know, and we'll share them on the pod.
Sweet.
If even one person right then.
We definitely need our 20 regular listeners.
That's right.
In, please.
Please do. You
anonymously. You don't have to
you know who you are.
Mom.
Sheila.
All right. Should we move on to our next very uplifting topic?
Yeah, this is this one's kind of a bummer. I mean,
interesting.
It's interesting, and it was entertaining. And
yeah, I sat and watched it like.
Yeah, I almost did too. Over 2 days, but yeah. So we are going to be talking about the Netflix banger Adolescence, which has been in the #1 spot for a few days now.
Yeah, just when I'm always on the verge of getting rid of Netflix. Like you said the other day, and this is exactly what they do. It's a bunch of B stuff, and then they'll drop a banger.
Every couple months.
I feel like I have to hold on to it because something great's going to come out and I have to see it.
Right. So there's going to be spoilers. I mean, I guess if you haven't seen it, now's your cue to tune out.
Yeah.
It was a 4-part miniseries, which, funny enough, I didn't really realize that it was only 4 parts when I first started watching it. And then on the last episode, and almost like the last scene of the last episode, I was like, oh my God, this is the end.
Yeah.
And then I was like, is this the end? And I paused it and I went and looked and I was like, this is the end.
Yeah, if you hadn't have told me that it was 4 episodes, and even when I got to the one, I was like, it can't only be 4. There's so much more to tell. But yeah.
So just a quick synopsis. It takes place in the UK somewhere, but it's about a family with a son. Is he 13? I think he's 13.
Yeah.
And he is charged with stabbing a classmate to death, a girl. The show starts out with the police and like SWAT team showing up at his house and busting in and arresting him, and the parents are like, what is going on? Like nobody has any clue. Yeah. And there's almost no information or focus on the victim at all.
Yeah.
You don't really know anything other than the few interactions they talk about that they had online, and they interview some of the kids at the school that talk about her a little bit. But the focus is very much on
him and his family.
He's been arrested, and the dad and him see the footage. I mean, they have footage of him stabbing this girl. I mean, it's very like, you know,
it's clearly him.
He did it.
Yeah.
But
up until that point, the son is denying it.
Yes.
And you know, you believe him.
You do question yourself at certain points throughout because you see the footage very early on in the first episode, and you're like, oh shit, he did it. And then there are points where you kind of question yourself, like, is there something going on here?
Yeah.
Like,
is this an AI story now?
Yeah. Like, what's happening here? And it's shot with like single shots. And
it's really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, the way it was shot and the acting, it's really, really, really well done.
Yeah, the acting is superb.
It's superb. The acting, the writing, the way it was shot really told the story in a way that was so gripping. The 3rd episode, it's just the boy who's been accused of stabbing the girl and like a social worker who is someone that is like a third party that helps advise the judge about sentencing, I think is kind of how they explained it. And that whole episode is just the two of them in what looks like kind of an interrogation room, but they're just talking. And that's the entire episode. And then the last episode is his family, the mom, the dad, and the sister. And it's just them and kind of how they're dealing with the whole thing. At this point, he's been locked up for a little over a year by the time they get to the 4th episode. And they're just kind of like waiting to see what's going to happen in terms of like a trial and all of that. And most of the episode, it's just a straight on shot of the 3 of them in like the front bench seat of like a truck or a van. And you just you're trapped with them in this car. And it's just, the whole thing is very gripping. And it's one of those things that really just hits you like a ton of bricks. Yeah. The whole thing.
The reality of a situation like that. Because I feel like it's so hard to step into those families' shoes when something like this happens. And I mean, they did a really great job of just showing what it must feel like to be the parents of a child who does this.
Right. And so kind of the basis of the whole thing is that this young boy is involved with incel culture online. And the girl that he stabs to death is kind of calling him out on that. And they're sort of talking about some of the things that he was looking at online, some of the comments that were made, some of these different things. And it starts to unfold this whole culture of misogyny through this incel ideology. And the third scene with the woman, that's really where it all spills out.
We start to see another side of this boy, who before had seemed almost like falsely or wrongly accused, was just this sweet, innocent boy who's scared.
Yes.
You know, who was still saying, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do this. And then you see kind of this other side to his personality come out.
Yes.
And it's alarming.
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, it's being highly analyzed online. There's already been several like papers and stuff written about it. And I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't know that much about incel culture until I saw this. And some of the stuff that I've seen, which really fits into kind of the branding of our podcast, where we talk about experiencing the world as women and how that's influenced and informed through pop culture. But I guess women were feeling a lot of pressure to watch it.
To watch the show?
Yeah. And just based on things that they had read and things that are being talked about on social media, and a lot of women are coming out and saying, I don't need to watch this. This is my lived experience. We are aware of misogyny. And the fact that now the conversation is being had by men because men made this show. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm. And so there's been a little bit of controversy over that, of like, oh, now that the men are talking about it, it's time to make it a big thing.
Right.
You know,
it's been happening for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, the incel thing, putting a name to it, I feel like, and it has been, it's like a radicalized movement almost.
Yes.
That is recent.
It is recent. Yeah. Know? So
the misogyny part.
The misogyny part is not. No.
Yeah. Beginning of time. But
the incel culture, I guess, kind of evolved out of like the whole pickup artist culture from the 90s. And I guess the term incel was actually coined by a bisexual woman in the 90s who essentially was just talking about wanting romantic and sexual relationships with people and having trouble achieving it.
Yeah. And it was co-opted.
So now, I guess what I've been reading and seeing is that we are referring to this as misogynistic incel culture.
Gotcha.
Because that
there is a distinction.
There's a distinction. Now they don't want. It's just like we were talking about in the last episode with all these phrases.
Yeah.
Girls, girl, even. Yeah. I know that's not as extreme of a comparison, but it's an example of where a term becomes something completely different
than it was
intended to be. So yeah, and you know, it just kind of grew on all these forums online, and now it's all of these men who are now blaming the women.
Yeah. And
it's turned into this entitlement to women, that they're entitled to sex and pleasure that should be given by women, and basically like the dehumanization of women.
Yeah.
And there's terms for, as far as like, women that are desirable are called this, and then women that are less desirable are called this. And now, I guess foid is a big term in incel culture now, which is short for female humanoid.
Oh, weird.
Which is like completely removing all humanity from us. And
God, it's so sick and depraved. I mean, the things that Andrew Tate has said on his podcast are just like the most vile things on earth. Who's kind of like he's become the face,
the founding father. And it did say that a lot of this show is inspired by his rhetoric. It's wild.
It touches on so many scary points,
right?
Incel culture, children's access to the internet, men's and boys' anger and mental health. There's so many things wrapped up into one show that are being
there's a lot there's a lot to unpack. I did a little bit of research on incel culture just because I don't know that much about it, and it is kind of a relatively newer concept. And I guess like the first big thing that happened that was tied to it was a man who went to a sorority. This was in 2014, and had planned to kill these girls in this sorority, and then wasn't able to gain access. So he just opened fire on passersby. And he had this like online manifesto. And of course they were able to all of these conversations that were happening on these forums and stuff. But one of the things that was said in the manifesto is, if we can't solve our problems, we must destroy our problems. One day, incels will realize their true strength in numbers and will overthrow this oppressive feminist system. I cannot kill every single female on earth, but I can deliver a devastating blow that will shake all of them to the core of their wicked hearts.
I mean,
this is the kind of stuff that's...
it's horrifying.
Blooming out of this culture.
And it's so funny to me. Oppressive feminist culture?
Yeah.
You think, how are we oppressive?
Exactly. So part of what sparked me to do a little bit of research on this, when they were talking about the red pill versus the black pill, I was like, what? That's the Matrix. It's red and blue on the Matrix, I think. But I'm like, what are they talking about? So the red pillars are basically the members of this incel culture who have supposedly awakened to the fact that there is no patriarchy. It's oppressive feminism, and that we are the ones in control, and that we're the ones oppressing them.
Just delusional.
Yeah. So it's really wild.
Yeah. It's just scary to think how easy it is to become radicalized on the internet.
Right.
I was just listening to another podcast about this, about a family whose father had become radicalized, mostly about the government and stuff like that.
I think we were listening to the same one.
Oh,
were we
really?
talking about this before?
Maybe. Is an NPR podcast embedded?
Yeah. Where he said, I want you to write down 4 things that are going to happen next year.
Yeah, it was 10. And he was like, I'll give you $1,000 for everyone. Of course, none of them came true.
None of them happened,
And of course, his dad was like, yes, I was wrong, but I just had my timeline off.
Yeah.
There is no convincing people, too.
No, I know.
And that's the thing is, it isn't fact anymore. We're talking about beliefs.
Right.
And you can't change someone's beliefs with truth.
Mm-mm.
It's just, it's emotional. It's beyond reason anymore. Yeah. And that's what's so scary about this, is that these people believe this.
Right.
There's no arguing with them.
No.
And changing their mind.
Yeah. And, I know there can be something to be said for taking something so far in the opposite direction that we then have to worry about. Women aren't better than men, just in the same way that men aren't better than women. And I do think there are times where we have to be careful about that. But the real main issue for me, and I think for a lot of people, is that it's the violence that women are experiencing at the hands of men.
Yeah.
And it's this type of ideology that's fueling a lot of that violence. And at the end of the day, it's just not happening in the reverse.
Yeah.
And that's where we really need to focus on change. And it's complicated. It is. And the scariest part, and we talked about this a little bit offline, talking about the show, is the scariest part, I think, when you watch it as a parent, is I have a hard time deciding what would be worse in terms of a parent, being his parents or hers. Girls. And of course, losing a child, which is something that I've experienced in a very different capacity, is the worst thing that I think that could happen to a parent. But it's almost like they still lost him in just a different way.
Yeah.
And, the final episode, because he has pled not guilty, and the whole time, like, leading up to this, he's proclaiming his innocence. And then in a very last episode, he calls, and they're all in the car, and the dad answers the phone, and he says that he's going to change his plea. Yeah. And that's the moment they all kind of make the realization, even though I think they knew deep down all along, because the dad's like, I saw it.
Yeah, there's no denying the video. We are in an age where, video is becoming less reliant because it can be faked.
Yeah.
I don't think that was...
No.
I think it's obvious that isn't the situation here.
Right. And even though I think they know deep down all along, they're holding on to a little bit of hope. Yeah. Like, maybe there is something that we don't understand at play here.
Or, like, was he coerced?
Right.
Was it just him? Because it is very much set up like he was with a group of friends, but they all left, and this was completely on his own accord.
Yeah.
And I think there is kind of this some semblance of maybe, he could say he was bullied so badly that this was a result. Not that is justified, but that there's something that he's not just evil,
right?
Or that he was just that angry, that he did this terribly violent thing, or that maybe there was another boy involved, or something else,
or that maybe that wasn't him in the video, because really, that's the only thing I'm like, well, maybe we're going to find out that wasn't him in the video somehow.
Right.
Or,
that's what I kept thinking, too. Like, there's going to be this, like,
twist.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And him calling and telling them he's going to change the plea very much plays out as a confession.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I thought was so interesting, too, which the whole time the boy is saying, I didn't do anything wrong. He never really said, I didn't do it. He said, I didn't do anything wrong. And then when it's revealed that he did do it, it was just like, oh, does he truly think he did the right thing?
Yeah, that he's like doing society a favor.
Yeah, that she was deserving of this. That's what's so like, ugh.
Well, and that's the really whole point.
He's been convinced that was the right thing to do.
Yes.
For her bullying of him or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of like, I don't know if bullying is the right word, but
teasing or calling him out.
Calling him out on the incel stuff was kind of seemed like, was the issue. And there was some thing that happened, and I can't remember what it was now. Maybe she got like broken up with or something by someone else, and she was like having a vulnerable moment. He makes this comment about,
because he's actually like kind of liked her.
Yeah, he kind of liked her. He had a little crush on her, and he makes this comment about, well, because the woman that he's talking to is like, well, what made you ask her out at that moment or something? And he's like, well, she was weak.
Yeah.
Because she had just been like, something had happened. He's like, well, she was weak. So I thought that's the time.
Right.
So that episode is really where it unfolds. And I can't remember if they said this in the show, or I think this was in an article I read where it's like, yeah, the most dangerous place for your children is alone in their rooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that we have no idea, like, what our children are consuming.
Right.
And we really have to be mindful. And, another thing that they talked about was kind of and this is something too, even as someone who has grown up in the tech era, but even I didn't know this. I didn't know that different colored hearts meant different things. Did you?
No, and I was reading that somebody said that was made up for the movie. That's not actually true. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because at one point,
I mean, don't quote me on that, but I was doing a little research too, and I read that, like, out of all of the incel information, like, that was the that was one that
like,
a psychologist. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, damn, I didn't know that. Because then I was like, not me looking at every comment heart on every social media thing I'm on and being like, what does that mean?
Yeah. He was like, I think everything was accurate, but to think that incels have like their own emoji language, it's like I don't think there's any basis for that. But that could. He was talking specifically about incels, so maybe kids do. Maybe they're.
I very much think kids have an emoji language to an extent, because that's something that's come up in other things that I've watched. Not with the colored hearts like it did in this one, but just like the eggplant and I mean that's the most basic one I can think of, but I do think there are certain ones that mean things that we don't have any freaking clue.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's all kinds of
they be speaking in codes
things. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a great watch if you can stomach it.
It's a lot,
but very, very well done. And I mean, very layered in terms of all of the things it touches on. Even another layer, the fact that it's made by men. There's conversations around that. I mean, a lot to unpack if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah.
So,
but it should be made by men. Men should be the ones bringing this to attention. It also shouldn't be women's responsibility to be teaching everybody about, I think that's, I can see that from both sides, but.
Yeah, I can too.
Yeah.
I can too. I mean, it's about time they paid attention.
Yeah.
But I also understand some of the viewpoints of these women being like, why is it only suddenly a thing now that men are controlling the conversation around it?
There's some validity to that for sure.
So anyway, if you can stomach it, highly recommend it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Don't feel obligated to see it because it's the hot new thing to see. But
I started watching The Studio on Apple Plus or Apple TV. It's also single shot. Yeah. And it's just amazing. Seth Rogen's new show. It's really good. It's all single shot. And it really, I mean, I watched a couple episodes back to back and I was tired.
What's it about? I love Seth Rogen, usually.
It's about studio executives in the movie business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like it's not like a documentary though.
No,
it's like a fiction show.
Yeah. A bunch of people are in it. It's really funny. It's modern. It's set in current times, but it has kind of like an old Hollywood
feel.
So far it's really good. It's not like ha funny, but it's definitely funny.
That's the kind of funny I like.
Yeah.
I don't like shows where they try to be ha funny.
Yeah.
Other than Schitt's Creek. That's the only one.
Something about single shot that is like so
consuming,
like you said, gripping. Yeah, because
it consumes you.
You are really just feel like you're in it with them, but it's also exhausting.
Yes.
Like I watched a couple episodes and I was like, "Whoo, I am tired."
That's how Adolescence was. Yeah. I mean,
and the content in the studio is not heavy content. Right. Like the subject matter.
Yeah.
It's it's lighthearted, but it's still like, whew, man, you're moving.
Yeah. 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 Well, maybe I'll check that out.
And I do
What's the other one?
I pretty much love everything Seth Rogen does. So.
Yeah. What was the one that I didn't like? Why can't I think of it?
What was it with
the
Rose?
Psychologist one?
Oh, Shrinking. Mm-hmm. That's not Seth Rogen. That's
Siegel.
Yeah.
Jason
Siegel, yeah.
They're interchangeable. I mean,
yeah, they are a little similar. All right, should we get in grapes and gripes? Yep. My grape and my gripe are going to my bangs this week. When they're banging, they're really cute. I think they look good on my face, but it's just like they look good so little of the time.
It's not consistent, is what you're saying?
Yeah. And I've been trying to wear them curly because, like, my hair's curly, obviously.
Right.
And it's a crapshoot whether I look like a crazy troll or if I look cute.
Well, what's the difference between these bangs and the very first?
Okay,
Did you cut them?
Okay, so the first one, they were like long.
They were swoopy.
Yeah. Which I should have just stuck with it.
Yeah, those then were
I was
good.
like,
not that these aren't, but
yeah, but then I was like, I think I want to go for the full bang now, so I cut them a little bit myself, which is a huge mistake. And then they weren't right. So then I went back and I keep trying to get these cool girl haircuts too, which I just need to stop and just accept the fact that I'm just a regular girl. I just need to have a regular girl haircut. So I got this like shag haircut and it's like, okay. I just feel like it's a lot of,
it looks cute.
It's a lot of work to like make it look right, and I don't know.
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, the first bang was better.
Yeah, I know they just need to grow out. They're a little
these
short.
aren't bad.
Yeah, they're okay. It looks cute with my hair.
Yeah, they're okay.
It looks cute with my hair up, but I just need them to grow out a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when they look good, I really love it.
Well, I love your bravery.
Thanks.
Because I mean, you just go for it. Which is something to be said. I mean,
I need a new look of some sort. So
I always think I want bangs, and then I sit back and I assess: am I going through something? Like, what am I going through that I feel like I
know? I mean, don't
bangs.
get bangs when you're in an emotional state. That's for sure.
And of course, my hairdresser, who's like a longtime friend of mine, one of my best friends, she's like, I mean, I can do it if you want.
See, I think you would look really cute with bangs.
I do too, kind of.
It's just so much work.
I'm gonna get some clip-on ones, I think.
Oh yeah, you said you're gonna test
I'm
it
gonna
out.
try it. I'm gonna try it.
Well, and like that's the thing too, is like my hair is inconsistent all the time. So it's like any weather, and especially now it's been rainy. Ugh, forget about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no looking cute in the rain for me. It's just a loss.
Yeah, the rain ruins it no matter what. It's just,
So anyways, when it's good, it's good. It's bad, it's real bad.
The high highs and low lows with the bangs. Got it. Okay, so my gripe is going to children's books with book jackets.
Oh.
Just don't. Just don't. If you are writing a book for children, don't put a jacket on it. They're gonna fuck it up.
Yeah.
They're gonna rip it. They're gonna take it off. At one point, I had a spot on a shelf where I just had like 7 book jackets that I had taken off the book and put it on the shelf. And I got so sick of looking at them and so sick of wanting to put something else there and couldn't that I said, forget it. And I threw them away. Hey. So
that is your prerogative.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
Amen. I'll spread the word on that.
Thank you. And then my grape is going to, if you listen to the last episode, I have finally truly discovered and figured out TikTok, and I'm in, 100% in. And
okay, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
When you said in like Flynn.
In like Flynn.
I thought it was Flint. I thought it was in like Flint.
Well, you also thought it was ride home, like on your horse.
Nothing to ride.
Nothing to ride home about and inform everyone of what I've been doing.
Which I still stand behind the logic of that.
There is logic to that one.
Yes.
Because you're like, it was before you could do anything except jump on your horse and ride home
and send the message. It used to be ride home, and then they changed it to write home once the mail
learned how to write.
Yeah, established.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
But honestly, what is in like Flynn? Where
I don't
does
know.
that come from?
Is it Errol Flynn?
I have no idea.
He's an actor, right? An old movie star? We should look that up.
Yeah, I don't know. You look up the origin of In Like Flynn. So my grape is going to the TikTok makeup tutorials. I have always been a big makeup girly. I have mostly taught myself for the first 38 and a half years of my life until I discovered TikTok. And there's just a couple things, I think I was always kind of the opinion that a lot of these products and stuff were like gimmicky and stupid and doesn't matter, and aren't going to make a difference. I think that's true for a lot of it. Some of them 100% make a difference. So I have discovered gripping primer and setting spray. Mm-hmm. And guess what?
They work.
They work. So I have just been on a little bit of a makeup journey.
Nice.
And I've been enjoying learning some new tricks of the trade.
In Like Flynn.
Oh, yes, in Like Flynn.
It is associated with Errol Flynn, the actor known for his romantic roles and reputation for a charming, exciting life.
Okay, so is it like a gross sex thing? Charming and romantic? Like you're in like Flynn? Like you're in? Like you're getting in like Flynn?
So.
Okay, I hope not. No.
Meaning, in Like Flynn signifies achieving success or getting something done with minimal effort or resistance. Often used in a romantic context. So maybe not sexual,
right?
But romantic. The phrase's origin is linked to the actor Errol Flynn, known for his dashing good looks and romantic roles in Hollywood films.
Oh, it's definitely got misogynistic undertones. What's that from?
Clueless.
Yeah.
While the exact origin is debated, some suggest it emerged in the early 1940s, possibly as a form of rhyming slang, gained popularity after Flynn's acquittal in a case involving a minor.
Oh my God, I'm never saying it again.
Oh, that's horrible. I was like Flynn on my first date. The deal was done in like Flynn.
Gross.
The
more you know.
Yeah. Some controversy. Some suggest the phrase gained popularity after Flynn's acquittal in a case involving a minor, but this is not universally accepted.
Well, I'm accepting it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ixnay that one altogether. Yeah. Gross, man. Everything. Every man's a bad.
Every one of you. No.
But you know that's so funny about phrases like that is I thought it was in like Flint for this whole time. Never even considered what that meant.
That one does not have the same logic as right home.
No, there's no logic. That was just one of those things where I've heard this my whole life. I have never even considered the meaning.
Right.
Or the origin or why. Like I know generally what it means, how to use it. But
right. Yeah, you know the context to use it in, but that's
I've never considered why it was Flint either.
Right.
Oh, Lord.
We are forever learners here. After all, we've established that.
It's true.
Okay. Well, we hope you learned something
fun,
today.
Guys.
And stop saying in like
Don't
Flynn.
ever say in like Flynn. No. Good Lord. But it's so funny because you were like, could it be sexual? And I was like, no, absolutely not. In like Flynn? No. Okay. No, get this.
We had to come back on to share this.
Yeah, this is horrible. We're never saying this again. In November 1942, the rhyming phrase became associated with actor Errol Flynn, who was accused of statutory rape by minors Betty Hansen and Peggy Satterley. Flynn had a reputation for womanizing, consumption of alcohol, and brawling. A group was organized to support Flynn named the American Boys Club for the Defense of Errol Flynn. Flynn was acquitted of the charges. The phrase is said to have been coined following his acquittal.
What is wrong with people?
The phrase has been widely used in Australia to refer to quick and easy sexual conquest.
Yeah. No way. Justice for Betty and Peggy.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
Of course.
God.
Just like everything else.
Well, we really uncovered a truth here today.
Yeah.
So.
Thank God I interrupted you.
No kidding.
All right, well, we just needed everyone to know.
Yes.
PSA, don't ever say in like Flynn ever again.
No. We had to hop back on and bring you that little snippet.
All right.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye for real.